There's a world beyond the one we know, where the powers of darkness fear nothing but one man. Stop! Blade.
We represent the ruling body of the vampire nation. They're offering you a truce. They want to meet with you.
You sure about this?
They'll take us in deeper than we've ever been.
Now, those he has sworn to kill need his help to fight a new breed of terror.
They're no longer top of the food chain.
Our forces are ready to fight, but we need a leader.
Let me get this right. You want me to hunt them? For you? Ooh, so exciting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep your friends close. Keep your enemies closer.
All right, take us in.
All right, welcome back, listeners, to Scary Sci-Fi Sluts. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon.
And I'm Kenny. And
what are we going to be reviewing today, Kenny?
So, the long-awaited follow-up to Blade. Today, we're discussing Blade 2, which released March 22nd, 2002. So, what was that, 4 years after the first one? And this one is directed by Guillermo del Toro. Once again, written by David S. Goyer. So some of the cast and crew stuff here. Cinematographer for the movie was Gabriel Barristan, who he's done a lot of work on some Marvel stuff, actually. So he did additional photography for movies like Thor Ragnarok, Thor the Dark World, all 3 Iron Man movies. He did Suicide Squad. I guess he worked on the new Black Widow movie. He did the Agent Carter TV show. So a handful of things. He stayed busy throughout the years. Producer-wise, we have Avia Rod, who I'm not quite sure what his role is, but he's like had his hands deep in the Fox and some Marvel, Fox and what's that? Fox and Sony. That's what I was thinking. Fox and Sony superhero Marvel projects. So he produced like the Marvel animated series for X-Men, Iron Man, Hulk, Fantastic Four back in the 90s and early 2000s. He was a producer on the X-Men movies from the early 2000s, the Spider-Man movies, and pretty much every Fox and Sony comic book movie to date, which is pretty interesting. Then we also have Toby Emmerich as another producer, and he's kind of all over the board. He produces a lot of comedies. I was looking over his filmography, and he's done things like Game Night, Fist Fight, Hall Pass, Horrible Bosses, Harold and Kumar, the Rush Hour series, and then also some bigger budget things like the Hobbit series and Rampage, San Andreas. So kind of interesting there. Who do we got in this movie?
Oh, we got a couple big names. Wesley Snipes, we of course know him from the first movie and his big run in the 90s. Chris Christopherson, Ron Perlman, of course, Leonor Varela, Norman Reedus, the new famous actor from Walking Dead, and Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen. We're going to talk about Donnie Yen. You know who Donnie Yen is. What are you talking about?
Yeah. That Donnie Yen.
Look up a picture of Donnie Yen right now. You know who Donnie Yen is. Come on. He's only the,
You related to Kylo Ren?
He's his long lost Asian brother. He's like the most impressive and important stunt choreographer and martial artist in China.
Jacked.
Yeah, he's this guy's so cool. He's really big in Chinese movies. He does a lot of like martial arts stuff. He's kind of like the younger, newer age Jackie Chan, but I guess he's actually getting up there in age. I think he just turned 50 something. I don't know.
Is he going to be in the new Mortal Kombat movie?
I wouldn't be surprised. That'd be pretty badass. He would fit. But I think now that he's getting a little bit older, I'm pretty sure he's transitioning more to just doing like stunt choreography and maybe like some producing and directing, kind of like Jackie Chan's doing. When he was younger, he did a lot of acting, a lot of acting, but he also started to dip his hands more in the behind the scenes stuff. So that's what he does primarily now. As far as box office goes, this movie cost roughly $54 million to make, which, I mean, you think about it, in 2002, that's still really cheap. I don't know off the top of my head how much the X-Men and the Spider-Man movies cost, but I can pretty much guarantee it was much more than 54 million. So slim budget, and grossed 155 million worldwide, 82 million in the US. So, I mean, if you look at the worldwide box office, it made back 3 times, or I guess after marketing and such, maybe 2 times its budget, which I think the studio would consider a success. Maybe not like, significant like Avengers and stuff nowadays, but I feel like back in 2002,
compared to today's winnings, I mean, that's a failure, but
yeah, it's like it's a bomb.
That's a hit.
Yeah, so pretty good. And what's interesting is, since this came out in 2002, this was when superhero movies were really kicking off. This was like right in the middle of it, because you had X-Men, which came out in, I think, either 99 or 2000. I want to say it's 2000. Spider-Man 1 came out around this time. I think it was 2001, 2000. I think it's 2001, maybe. So yeah, this was really when comic book movies were starting to get into the scene. Because, a year or 2 later, you would have the Hulk movie, you have the Fantastic Four movies coming out. So Sony and Fox were starting to really push these out because, I don't know if their overall finances were drooping or something. So like, hey, we got to get back in the game and get some more movies out. But it was a good time, interesting time to be alive when this all first kicked off.
Yeah, I wish I could have seen it in theaters, but we're a little too young.
Yeah, let's see. How old would we have been in 2002? Let's see, 7 years old.
7.
I do think though, I don't remember exactly what year, but Jurassic Park 3 came out sometime around here. Maybe it was like 2005, 2004 or something. But I think that was the first rated R movie I saw in theaters, and like I remember that being scary when I went to see it. So, all right.
My first rated R movie when I was 18, like a real adult.
Was it American Pie?
No, it wasn't. Yeah, right.
American Pie Band Camp.
Oh, nice.
All right. Well, we're going to hop into the plot summary here. And then after that, we're going to start breaking into the movie. So,
yep.
For 2 years, Blade has been searching for his old mentor, Whistler, who was supposed to be dead because he dramatically shot himself in the first film. But I guess we're going to hell with continuity in this one. It turns out that vampires let Whistler turn, but have kept him sedated and in hiding. Blade finally tracks Whistler down and injects a vampire cure into him, which this cure comes out of nowhere and then is never mentioned again. And soon after Whistler's rescue, Blade, Whistler, and Scud, played by Norman Reedus, who is Blade's new assistant, are attacked by 2 vampires. These vampires, Assad and Nissa, call for a truce with Blade, telling him of a new mutated breed of vampire called the Reapers. They tell Blade that they need his help in hunting the Reapers and their leader, Nomak, because of the dangers that the Reapers pose to both humans and vampires.
Well, Blade agrees, and Assad and Nissa bring in a team of useless vampires who are essentially different character classes in a video game. That's very true.
Yeah.
You've got Reinhardt, the Nazi-looking squad leader, played by Ron Perlman, the damage dealer, blonde douche named Chupa. We have the tank, big European dude with no shirt, big hammer, and Celtic tattoos. That's all very gamer-like.
Yeah.
The rogue Asian who's going to be squatting and sneaking around the whole time. Swordsman, karate master, played by Donnie Yen, of course. Some chick with red hair and a guy named Priest who literally does nothing. Blade and the squad investigate a vampire nightclub, much like we've seen in the first movie, where they find a handful of Reapers. They try to kill them with garlic, unlimited silver bullets, that's a good note, and swords, but nothing seems to work. Suddenly, they remember that they have UV lights at the very last minute on their guns, which they basically discover is the only thing that works to kill the Reapers. Whistler tracks down the Reaper nest to the sewers, and the squad suits up to prepare for battle. Armed to the teeth with weapons that don't do anything against Reapers, and with some UV grenades that Scud made at the very last minute, the squad enters the sewers.
Nearly all of the vampire squad members die before Blade is finally able to detonate the UV bomb, which kills all the Reapers except for Nomak. Blade finds Nyssa on the brink of death and allows her to suck his blood to recover. A team of vampires storm the sewers, and under the command of Reinhardt, they capture Blade. It turns out that Scud and Reinhardt had been in cahoots and were just using Blade to eradicate the Reapers. With Blade now captured, the vampire leader hooks him up to a device to drain and harvest Blade's blood, which he plans on using to create a better breed of vampire. Nomak is actually the vampire leader's son, who he experimented on, which created the mutant Reapers.
Oh, that's me. Pissed off at his father and on a path of death and destruction, Nomak storms the vampire base, killing all the vampires, his father included. Blade gets rescued by Whistler, kills Reinhardt, and then fights Nomak, eventually killing him.
And there we have it.
All right.
Blade 2.
So that was actually pretty quick, but I do feel like we have a lot to get into with this.
Yeah, so let's get the show started with some trivia, interesting facts, anything of background stuff. What do you got?
All right. Let's see. So Wesley Snipes has admitted that this is his personal favorite Blade movie.
Interesting.
Kind of interesting. Slim pickings. I wonder how he landed on this one being his favorite.
Yeah, I would have thought it'd be the first one because I think compared to the first one, this one has a lot less like one-liner and camera focusing on Blade moments. I think the first one has a lot more of that. Interesting.
Let's see. What we got? Let's go to the spoilers.
Love spoilers.
Oh my God, there was 110 body count.
That's it? That's not enough. I'm pretty sure that's how many people John Wick kills in one movie by himself.
That's true. Cool stuff about the enemies closer bit. I guess you can see Scud right over his left shoulder when he says that.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, that could have been on purpose, but I really don't think this movie's intelligent enough to have some deeper meaning behind that.
Right. That was an afterthought by the viewer.
Yeah. We get a lot of the trivia and interesting facts from IMDb trivia, so I think anyone can go and put on whatever they want. So some of this might be bullshit.
The original script actually planned for a sex scene between him and Nyssa, which I feel like that would have actually given us a lot better build-up between the characters. So they should have left that in.
Yeah, because there was no chemistry between the two. I don't know how you felt about it, but I
It was
felt
very
nothing.
like 0 to 60 of him caring for this woman and like falling for her.
Right. But it also it like didn't click because I don't know how you felt about her acting, but I thought it was so flat. It was so bad. Like I don't know if she's a bad actress or what's going on, but if it was the script, both.
It just didn't feel deserved, and I feel like the real Blade would have just left her to die because she served her purpose.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's doing there.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll get more into it once we move along to some of the details.
What do you got for trivia? You got anything good?
Yeah, I got a little handful of things. Just something I noticed between the ratings from the first and the second one. Looking back before rewatching this one, I always remembered the second one being the best out of the trilogy. So I thought I'd share some of the ratings. So Blade 2 had a 6.7 viewer rating, 6.7 out of 10 viewer rating on IMDb with a 52 Metacritic score, while the first one had a 7.1 viewer rating and a 45 Metacritic score. So seems like critics liked this one a little bit more. I wonder if it's because of, you know, the extra talent, the extra chutzpah that Guillermo del Toro brings to the table. But then viewers rated it a little bit lower. Rotten Tomatoes wise, this one got a 57%, so it's rated rotten from the critics, and then 68% from viewers, so not very high, which I'm actually surprised. I thought the viewer score would be a little bit higher. Compared to the first one, it got a 55%, so also rotten, and then the viewers gave it 78%. So that pretty closely, no, actually, it's kind of the reverse of the Metacritic. So just interesting to see. I always thought this one would be, you know, had higher regards than the first one. Donnie Yen, he served as one of the fight choreographers and martial arts coordinators for the movie, which obviously you can tell, like, there's a lot of martial arts stuff going on in this one, kind of for no reason. And knowing the background of Donnie Yen, it's, you know, it was clear to me just from seeing him in the movie that he had a hand in that stuff. The editor for the movie was Peter Amundsen. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, Peter. But he worked on a couple other movies with Guillermo del Toro. So he did Pacific Rim. He edited Hellboy 1, maybe Hellboy 2, I think just the first one. He edited another similar franchise. So the Underworld movies, he was an editor for Underworld 3. And then also the 1998 piece of shit Godzilla movie. I don't know if this one's true. I actually, having seen this movie twice, I forgot to pay attention to this fact, but I found this on IMDb trivia. So if it's true, good for you, the person who wrote this. If it's false, fuck you. Someone said Scud is wearing a BPRD t-shirt at some point in the movie, which is a Bureau of Paranormal Research Development or something like that. But it's from Hellboy. It's the department that Hellboy works for. So apparently at some point in the movie, Scott is wearing a t-shirt that has that symbol or something, which if it's true, it foreshadows Guillermo del Toro making the Hellboy movie, because the first one came out in 2003 or 2004. So that'd be interesting. Another thing I saw, Michael Jackson was once going to have a cameo as a vampire pimp, but due to scheduling conflicts, he couldn't play the pimp. So I would have loved to see that.
I would have loved to see any vampire pimp, even if it wasn't him.
Yeah, but him or like Prince would have just made it way, way better. I guess originally in the first or second draft or something, David Goyer wanted Morbius the Living Vampire to be the main villain instead of Nomak. So that would have been cool to see. But knowing how the world of comic books work, and pre Marvel acquiring all the properties back, pre Disney getting all the titles back, depending on which characters they were Sony was licensed to make these characters, Fox was licensed to make these, and then blah 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 all over the place. So it's just interesting that the thought was there, which I was doing a little bit of background reading on Blade's character, and Morbius the Living Vampire does have a role in Blade's background. I think maybe he bit him or something. I don't know, something like that. If any of our listeners or viewers are super into the Blade comics, you should definitely leave a comment or shoot us a message and tell us, what that connection is, because I just glanced over it briefly.
Yeah, I wonder how that's going to play out with the remake of Blade coming out, and then the Morbius movie in 2022.
I have a feeling like it'd be cool if they connected, or if there's like Easter eggs and stuff, but Morbius is produced by Sony. They have the rights to it, and the new Blade movie is Marvel and Disney property, so I don't think there's going to be any connection unless they sign a deal like they did with Spider-Man, which would be so awesome.
I really hate that licensing isn't fully a part of Marvel yet. Like, there's still snippets that don't belong to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just because Sony's like, Spider-Man's our cash cow, we're not going to hand him over. Like, yeah, right. Not until we go downhill as a company will we hand over Spider-Man. So the Reapers are an adaptation of a character, a creation that Del Toro had previously. And if you've ever seen the show The Strain, I've never actually seen it. I've wanted to watch it. The vampires in that series look almost identical to the Reapers in this movie, and there's that connection because Guillermo del Toro, I think he's like a executive producer of the Strain series, so he's had this concept of these Reapers for quite some time. That's interesting. As of 2017, I don't know if this is still accurate today, but this is the only film Guillermo del Toro has worked on that he wasn't a writer for, which is, kind of makes sense. Like, I don't know if you're too familiar with a lot of his movies, like Pan's Labyrinth and Hellboy, Crimson Peak, and Shape of Water. But when he's writing, the stories kind of have like really similar feels about like monsters and creatures kind of not being what they seem. Like, I think this is a consistent theme throughout his movies. Like Hellboy, I feel like he tackled the concept of Hellboy because Hellboy's like, this demon character, but like inside he's actually a good person, and just not so well understood, kind of like a Frankenstein's monster thing. And it was really similar in the Shape of Water. That's what the entire movie is about. And so I kind of caught on to that while watching this movie. It didn't really feel like it had that Guillermo del Toro like flair that his other movies do. So that was interesting to see. And one last note is Guillermo del Toro said in either an interview or some DVD commentary that he did want this movie to feel like a blend between a comic book and Japanese anime, which is pretty interesting. And I see that. I don't know how you feel about that.
Oh yeah, he hit it.
Yeah, it feels very, very comic booky and very anime style. All right, so do you have anything else trivia wise interesting behind the scenes stuff?
No, yeah, I mean, I definitely want to just get into the whole movie and what you thought about the choices that Guillermo made and just the whole flow.
All right. Well, we'll start off at the top here. So the movie opens in the Czech Republic, and you see Blade running around. We find out that he's been looking for Whistler for the past 2 years because continuity doesn't matter. And how did you feel about this? it pissed me off. Like I watched this movie twice in the past, week, and it just makes me so mad. Like I already from the first one, I really wasn't a big fan of Whistler's character. I don't know if it's just how he's written, if it's how he's portrayed by Chris Christopherson, but I just really didn't care. And he just felt like an archetype, like a stereotype character. And I hate that he was back. They should have just left him and just let it be done. But David S. Goyer was like, oh no, I miss him and I gotta make it so that he's not dead. So they bring him back. How do you feel about Whistler?
So I remember watching the first one, and when he dies, I immediately thought about how I was like, I think he comes back in the second or third one.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how they do it.
Yeah.
And when they did it in this, I was like, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, because I feel like they at least played it off in a way that was kind of safe and okay, having it be that like, oh, they just never fully explained it. Like, did vampires show up and take the gun from him? Did he choose not to shoot himself?
It makes no sense though, because if that's what happened, yeah. Blade was walking away when he shot himself, so he would have heard, seen, felt vampires showing up and being like, don't shoot yourself, I'm gonna take you. And also, yeah, like it was made out to be so dramatic in the first one. Blade slowly walking away, and then in the background, and also we see in this one, Blade kept the gun that Whistler used to kill himself in this box.
So he would have went back.
He would have went back, and then I just don't understand. Like, this made me so mad.
Oh, missing body. That's not normal at all.
Or whatever. I guess they must have taken him. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But how do you feel about the intro to this movie, though? So it actually starts off with we see Nomak, and he goes to this like blood bank type thing, and he, for whatever reason, pretends to be scared and pretends to be like a human there to donate blood to the vampires, but then he flips a switch and then starts killing everyone. How do you feel about the intro?
Yeah, I definitely thought it was weird. It seemed a little bit rushed, because I can't remember exactly what scene we get to Blade finally fighting, but I feel like they should have just left it with that similar feel.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot that like we didn't know about right off the bat, of like, what kind of blood bank is this, and what are they doing? Who are these people? So.
Yeah, I feel like either it needed to be written better, or just like cut that scene out entirely and let us hear about Nomak kind of in the background, like not show him immediately. I feel like it's kind of a necessary scene.
Yeah.
And then, but of course, we get a little inside peek to what he's all about in this intro. Like we see him doing the alien thing from his mouth, and we see him, he looks directly at a camera and says, I hate vampires. So I don't know, little too expository. I feel like they could have just gave us more whisperings of it later on in the movie. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it could have been a little bit cooler if like the first 10 minutes was kind of like a montage, almost straight into a montage of Blade hunting down vampires, and then you kind of see in the background of like this other figure who he runs into sometimes, that's also killing vampires, but you don't know or see like how he's doing it exactly. So
yeah, but instead we get this shitty montage following that scene. It's like a blend between a montage / a flashback of Blade voicing over saying, oh, I'm a Daywalker, and then we see little snippets from the first movie, and it's just like
I don't like that we got a second watch of his like explanation.
Yeah, I don't know why they did this. Like
it's the only like a TV recap.
Yeah, exactly. It was like 30 seconds recapping us of what happened in the first movie. Like I almost expected him to like do it in Ant-Man, how what's his face?
Michael Pena.
Michael Pena. He's like, so I was like at this party and all this stuff happened. I was like expecting that to happen, and
And then I met my mom, and then she tried to kill me.
And then
cool.
she was like, "Oh, I got bit by this vampire who you've been hunting down for 20 years." It was just so stupid. I was really, I don't know, really disappointed. It was not a good way to start the movie. But then right after that, it cuts into John Wick 2 style opening where we see Blade on the hunts, and this is where he finally finds Whistler. And I liked this part. I wish they just started with this. Like in the first Blade movie, how the movie just kind of kicks off with him showing up to that underground dance club. I feel like that's a good way to start these movies. It gives you, leaves a good taste in your mouth and tells you what's coming up. So I wish they would have just started here.
My only complaint with this, like, I love the fight choreography, but I feel like the weapons that he uses are way too overpowered, and there needs to be either a way higher death count or like a bigger struggle to actually kill these vampires, because when he uses an automatic weapon, he can kill like 50 of them in a minute.
I know. It's so
and then,
badass.
Like, some get away, and it makes no sense, because it's like, if you have this automatic weapon, there should be no reason why some of these guys are getting away.
But also, I mean, I don't think this was ever explored in the first one, but since he's using these silver bullets, like, how many bullets does it take to kill a vampire? Because when he's using this automatic pistol, this like Uzi pistol, like, I don't know if he's just unloading 50 bullets in them for fun, or if does it take one to kill them? Does it take 10? Like,
he's just being careless, because I think it shows in the scene at one point, it slows it down, and the Uzi pops off like 3 bullets, and you see the first one hit, and he immediately vaporizes.
Yeah.
And then like the second 2 and 3 hit, but he was already dead.
Yeah. So
if it were me, I'd be using like a rifle, something with a little bit better range.
Right, like a semi-automatic, maybe not a fucking full-on machine gun. Because you got to think, they're making these bullets, right? Like, there's got to be a...
Yeah, in one of the movies, don't they reference how much money it costs? And like how... I thought in like the third one or something.
No, wasn't it the first one where he said... Yeah, it was the first one when he... remember, he stole that guy's watch, the cop's watch, and he's like, "How do you think we fuel this operation?"
He's a thief.
But there's also, I feel like there should be a Blade 1.5 and a Blade 2.5 where it's like the in-between where they show it takes 2 years to make all the bullets that they use in this movie, because they use fucking infinite bullets in this movie.
Yeah, or I want at least like a supernatural explanation where like you see the boys doing like credit card scams and like getting money elsewhere.
Yeah, that would be in the Blade TV show where, you know how TV series, you have the filler episodes? That'd be a filler episode.
Oh, yeah. I'd watch that.
But one thing, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but one thing throughout the movie I saw is the CGI in it for 2002 is actually pretty fucking good. Like, I don't know if it's just the CGI or if it's the editing, but they like kind of used, I almost want to say they overused some of the CGI. Maybe it's because the technology got so much better and they wanted to show it off, but there's like a lot of flips and transitions from CGI to like normal in this movie. And it was definitely intentional, but I felt like it was actually done really, really well for 2002. Like, there are a handful of transitions where Blade would do like a backflip or get knocked into the air and then fall back onto the ground. And the way it was edited was almost seamless. Like, it looked really fucking good.
Yeah, it wasn't too cheesy. It was very smooth. There wasn't like a dramatic cut where he's like flipping and then you cut back and forth. And yeah. I do think though it was a little bit overkill. Like, they could have pulled back just a little bit.
Yeah, but that's why I think they wanted to show off the brand new technology or something, because they did overuse it a little bit. It was like all over the place.
Yeah, they got the trial version. They wanted to use it up within the 6 days.
Yeah, they have 7 days to use it up, to use Adobe Premiere or something. Yeah, so then we meet, after he saves Whistler, we meet Scud, played by a young babyface Norman Reedus, who, of course, he's super popular now from the hit show The Walking Dead. But at this time, I don't even think I would have known who he was, because he was in like the Boondock Saints, which is kind of a popular cult-ish movie, kind of an indie cult movie. I don't really know what else he's been in outside of that. Can you think of anything?
Hey, hold up. We got to pause real quick. I got to give my dog some water before they kill each other.
Shit, okay. Let's see. So Scud, yeah, played by Norman Reedus. He's the new, I guess Blade found him to kind of like replace Whistler and be his new like tech guy and supply him with all this gear and stuff. And for some reason, he's always watching Powerpuff Girls. I don't know why that is. Did you see that in the background? Yeah. Like, it's so
I don't know
random.
if that was part of the trivia with like one of the producers or who was a part of that and why.
There must have been some type of connection, because we see it like 3 times throughout the movie. And the first time I was like, that looks really familiar. What is that? And then after that, I'm like, okay, that's Powerpuff Girls.
It could not be related though, and he could just be a weirdo.
Maybe. I don't know. So next we have probably my least favorite scene in the entire movie. This is where the vampire ninjas bust into Blade's hideout. This part makes literally 0 sense. So Nissa and Assad, who we meet, they're the vampire ninjas. They break into Blade's hideout, apparently because they want to strike a deal with him. They want to have a peace, a truce. But they still sneak in. They use magnesium flares to block out all of Blade's cameras. And then they have a ninja fight with Blade for like 10 whole minutes before they stop and say, wait, we're here for a truce. Like, this makes no sense at all. And also, halfway through the fight, Blade tells Scud to hit the spotlights. And so we get this like big stadium spotlight thing shining on Blade, ninja fighting with the 2 vampire ninjas. And it's like one of the most ridiculous comic booky, I'll give it that. It's very, very comic booky, but one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen on the big screen. And it made me so mad. Like, it was so dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it for the fight scene because that was obviously fun to watch.
Yeah.
I love seeing some ninja vampires that like make no sound and they're flying all over the place, like sneaking in there. But it was definitely like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and they were there for a truce. It just doesn't make any sense. Why are they fighting?
Like, yeah, and then he says like, "Oh, your guy fired first." Like, no, you snuck in there and threw grenades.
You snuck in. You broke our cameras. You fucking bust down the door. Like, this is so stupid. Yeah, so they offer Blade the truce, and they're like, "Hey, we need you for this reason," and so they take Blade, Whistler, and Scud over to meet the vampire overlord Demeskinos, whatever his name is. And clearly, like, it's supposed to be a big twist at the very end of the movie that Nomak is Demeskinos' son. But like, from our first introduction to him, I was like, these motherfuckers look exactly the same. They're both bald, shiny, and pale as hell. Clearly, they're like father and son. So this was a terrible twist.
I'll admit, I didn't see it until they were with each other at the same time in the end.
What?
And I was watching and I was like, wait a second, how the fuck did I not see this in the very beginning? They're clearly the same person.
They look exactly the same, bro. Oh, God. So they Demeskinos tells Blade all about what's going on and why he needs help to kill Nomak and blah blah blah. And he like assigns them this vampire SWAT team that took them 2 years to put together, where they've been training for 2 years. And it was a team initially assigned to hunt down Blade, and they all suck ass, major ass. Like, if they've been training for 2 years, good God, are the vampires screwed, because these people suck. And they're called the Blood Pack, which, you know, it's a cool video game name. And so we get introduced to all members of the Blood Pack, and this is where it really sunk in for me. I kind of felt from the start of this movie that it was like, this kind of feels like it'd be a, you know, a video game. I'd play this on PS2 or something. And then when we meet all the members of the Blood Pack, I'm like, holy shit, this is the tutorial section, the intro section of a game where, you know, you can go, you click left or you click right, and it goes to the next character class. Here we have the Brute. Here we have the tank. Here we have the team leader, the healer. And I was like, this is ridiculous, but in a good way.
Which character would you have picked in the video game?
Oh, the Asian swordsman rogue, of course. But
I would have gone with the tank.
It was seriously so dumb. Like, they're slowly panning to each character. This is Priest. It's like in Suicide Squad, you know, the really funny scene where Joel Kinnaman's character, I forget his name, but he's on the plane, like, introducing everyone. He's like, this is Katana. She's got my back. It's like so fucking dumb. And then Reinhardt, who's like the squad leader, played by Ron Perlman, which I gotta say, out of all the people in this movie, Ron Perlman seemed like he was having just as much fun in this movie as Wesley Snipes. He seemed like he was having a hell of a time.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about this whole squad, because I feel like, for one, they should have put in at least a few more big names. I don't know who all was big at the time, but they could have gotten a couple more celebrities if they had the budget and would have done it right, and that would have made it at least a little bit more enjoyable.
Well, maybe they did offer out, you know, send out the notice to some bigger names, but then their agents and then read the script and were like, what the fuck do these people do in this movie? They do nothing. They're so useless.
Oh, they all die? No thanks.
No thank you.
And then two, I feel like it was so out of place, and they should have gone one of two ways. Either one, he just immediately kills all of them because he has this overpowered machine gun, and they're still the enemy, or he refuses at first, and then they have to save his ass when he goes out and tries to kill these new vampires.
You know, that would have been a little bit better. You know, I would see that working better, because what we get in the movie is they do absolutely nothing. Like, the first member of this squad to die is the character named Priest. And why is he named Priest? Because it's cool, I guess. He doesn't look like a priest. He doesn't carry a Bible, and he does nothing. I don't even think he has a full sentence in this movie. He has like 2 words, and then he gets killed by one of the Reapers, and it's just like mind-boggling. Why not cut half of these characters? Like, if they're gonna have this cool vampire squad, have them do something, and maybe only have like 2 members instead of 7 or however many there were. They do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and we don't even get to see any special attributes or magic or anything crazy that these special characters possess. Like, they just had weird armor.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, this is the stereotype. This is the archetype of this. But then it's not like they do something with those archetypes. It's just, oh, this person looks like this. This person looks like that. We have the Asian dude. Of course he knows karate and jump kicks. Like, at least have them do something.
None of them reached level 5, so they couldn't unlock their special power.
Yep, they did the free trial. They didn't pay for the subscription.
Or they burnt it out in the first act, but we didn't see it, and so it's still recharging the whole movie.
There is one little shot here that I do really like. One of my favorites in the movie is after Blade meets everyone, and then clearly him and Ron Perlman butt heads, and he starts like bitch slapping Ron Perlman's character, and he takes a silver bullet and he starts like flipping it around. He goes, psh, 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 and oh my god, it cracked me up. That was the only good thing to come out of this scene.
Yeah, it was just weird.
And another funny part is Blade, he looks at the group and he's like, well, you're all taking orders from me now. And, it's pretty badass, Wesley Snipes getting to own the character like that. And then he asks the group if there's anyone has any questions. And the camera pans to Donnie Yen and holds on him for a second. And I was just thinking, in his head, he's probably like, does somebody know Chinese? I don't know English. And so, yeah, he takes the group and they head out to another vampire nightclub, because I guess nightclubs are literally the only place that vampires hang out in this universe, because we've seen like 6 of them so far. And one thing I thought doesn't really make much sense is apparently the vampires have had to adapt because Blade has, been killing so many of them.
This was so stupid.
Yeah, they adapt, and Blade's like, oh, how do you know this is a vampire base? And then Nyssa, she like hands him goggles or something, right? And she's like, look, you didn't see it. And he sees they have the vampire insignia in, whatever that disappearing ink that you get as a kid. Yeah. They like disappearing ink painted on the building. And it just didn't make sense that she would spill these secrets to him, because then, however long later after their truce is done, he would just use that knowledge and go and kill them. I don't know.
Yeah, so they're gonna have to change it up. And like, how many different films do they have to where, we just use this next different type of ink? And like, right. He's not an idiot. He would have figured out that they switched up like the lens.
I know. It is, I don't know, pretty dumb. But then we see Scud. He created these new, really badass like hand blades that he gives to Blade, and they like attach to his wrist, and he says like, whatever,
his predator cuff.
Yeah, exactly. His whatever science mumbo jumbo. Oh, they have a anti-blood clotting serum in it, and they self eject and self reload or whatever bullshit, and they look really cool, but they're used for all of 60 seconds in this entire 2-hour movie. And it just makes me think, like, why did they even go through the trouble to introduce them at all if they do nothing?
Yeah.
But they looked cool, I guess. Maybe it was to sell toys. You can get the new Blade action figure with the interchangeable hands with the hand blades,
That very well could have been it. Or they could have had a lot more scenes where he kills a lot more vampires, but they were cut out.
Maybe that's a possibility. I'm gonna look it up real quick, see if I can find an action figure with those hand blades.
Buy it now.
All right, let's see. Blade 2 action figure. What do we got? Hey, shut up, bro. I'm trying to do some work here.
Puppy.
Oh. God, he's so annoying. No, I'm not seeing any hand blades. Wow, that's disappointing.
Oh, man.
Oh, wait. Oh, this one, Hot Toys. I look up Blade 2 action figure. I click this picture, and it says black action figure.
Oh, boy.
Oh, hand blades. I see him. Interchangeable. So,
yep. See?
In case you guys were wondering, it was for toys. Right. So we go through the nightclub, and oh my God, it was so fucking funny seeing all these shitty vampires dancing. I lost it, dude. 2 times I watched this movie, and when they first go into the nightclub, you just see them. They're like I don't know where vampires learn to dance, but it's so funny. And then we get a funny moment of Reinhardt, Ron Perlman's character. He's like pointing a gun at Blade through the crowd. He's like, oh, it'd be so easy for me to kill him right now. But then
I like this.
It turns out Blade also had a gun pointing at him at the same time. And the camera like goes back to Ron Perlman showing the red dot sight from Blade, and it goes back to Blade, and we just see him go. So funny. I love every time in the series, anytime it like the camera pans back to Blade and shows his smirk and his smile, like Wesley Snipes fucking kills me, man.
Yeah, him and Ron Perlman's chemistry was excellent.
Yeah. I wish Ron Perlman had more. Like, I feel like since they had so many useless characters, we could have used that extra screen time to build on that more. But yeah, I liked it.
Well, and he also would have been a good character to keep around for the third film and possibly even a fourth as just like this rival, because they have this excellent chemistry and he's obviously a really badass character. So they could have done a lot more with him.
Yeah. But I have a feeling Guillermo del Toro knew he wasn't coming back for a third one. And he's like, Ron Perlman's my boy. So David Goyer, please kill him.
You don't get to use him when I'm using him.
Exactly. And then we see the squad tracks out a bunch of Reapers in the club. And I don't know what you thought, but I thought these Reapers look like Gollum. Like, it was like the way they're like crawling around on all fours and they're all pale and, you know, super skinny. I thought they looked like Smeagol.
Well, it was also weird the way they set up like how much time passes by. I don't feel like all of them should have looked that way immediately.
Yeah, because
he changed them all very recently, and they said it takes like a long time for them to start looking that way.
Well, it said it takes like within 20 hours or something they turn or something.
Well, but they said if they don't drink blood, they start to like dehydrate. Like
yeah, because they're like crackheads.
But they've
they have
all
to
been
shoot up. Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, so here, this is where they discover that silver bullets and garlic do nothing to the Reapers. Only
but then
sunlight
they still
does.
waste half the movie shooting them. They're like, it's not working. Get them.
Why is it not working? And then we get this, 30-second badass kung fu scene of Donnie Yen showing his skills, martial artsing against one of the Reapers, and that's the only moment he gets in this entire movie. That's it. Like, I have no idea why he was actually cast in the film outside of doing the stunt choreography, because his skills were so wasted. Like he even dies off screen a little bit later on. We don't even get to see him die. It made me so mad. One thing I noticed though is I thought the look of the Reapers and all the practical effects, like whenever they showed the mouths opening up and like the alien stuff coming out of their mouth and the gills in the back, I thought it looked really, really good. You can tell it was good. It was practical, not CGI.
Yeah, they definitely they went up a big jump from the last movie.
Yeah.
They in the last one, over time, their effects got worse throughout the movie.
Uh-huh.
At least in this one, it was very consistent. Like they didn't drop down in budget towards the end of the movie.
Right. And I think we have to owe some of that to Guillermo del Toro, because he always comes up with these really good designs and he likes using practical effects. So I have a feeling he's behind that. And then, of course, this is where Blade and Nomak first, they have their first fight, and it felt so Mortal Kombat, like this entire scene. They were playing this like badass club music in the background, like and then there's literally a part where Nomad tackles Blade off a platform. They're falling, and as they're falling, he's like punching him over and over. It's legit like Mortal Kombat. And yeah, so this is where they learn that UV lights and sunlight is what kills the Reapers, and that's how Blade doesn't manage to kill Nomak, but he uses the light to scare him off. And apparently Nissa is also a doctor or a surgeon of some sort, because she's like, oh no, we have to capture this Reaper and cut him open and see what's going on inside of him. And they find out that they're so hard to kill because they have like the alien protective stuff in their body, and their heart is covered by this like rib cage, and so they can't.
I guess in 2002, they hadn't quite figured out that you just need a comedic nerd in a lab coat as one of the characters, because they're just passing out doctorates like it's funny.
I know.
Like anyone who needs one.
Maybe they forgot. Like maybe when David Goyer was writing the script, he like had it all mapped out, but then he's like, "Oh shit, how do they know that this is why they can't die? Oh god, I have to write it. I have to do a quick, rewrite or something." It just felt really ham-fisted and forced in for no reason.
Yeah.
And then there's this one line from Blade that I thought was so fucking stupid. He says, him and Nyssa are talking about killing the Reapers or something, and he's like, Nomac's different. He's the carrier. It all started with him. It'll end with him. Like, what does that even mean? Like, it's actual gibberish.
Kill him first.
Like, but are they implying that if you kill him, all the Reapers die, or? But why?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that they were confused themselves by what their plan was.
Wesley Snipes, he's like looking at the script. He's like, "The fuck is this?" And he's like, "I'm just gonna say what I want, just whatever."
We have to kill Nomak.
And then, so now that they tracked down the rest of the Reapers to this like underground sewer area where they're all at, they go back to the warehouse and suit up, and this is like preparing for the final boss fight in the game, where you spend all the money that you've earned from killing people, and you buy the new equipment, you upgrade your gear. It's like Mandalorian style. After each mission, you go and you trade in the gold to make new armor, and somehow overnight, or not even overnight, and within 6 hours, Scud makes these UV bombs, which miraculously, like, somehow this just occurred to you to make this. It's so bad.
It was so rushed.
Yeah. And then we try to get a little bit more chemistry between Blade and Nyssa. There's a scene where she walks in on him while he's shooting up with his blood serum, and there's just so much wrong with this. Like, her line delivery is so damn flat. It's like she's trying to give emotion, but nothing comes out. She's like, "Why do you hate us so much? You are one of us. I was born this way." And it's like, I get what they were doing. Like, I liked that they wanted to introduce, kind of this little twist where Blade starts having feelings for a vampire and starts trying to see things from their way, but it just didn't work. Like, she's a terrible actress. That's my thought. It's just like, it didn't work at all. There was no chemistry. There was no emotion.
Well, and it just like the whole Hellboy reasoning of like trying to, show that like you're a different kind of monster, or like you have different feelings inside. It was like they're like, "Oh shoot, we're 3/4 of the way done, and I need to sneak in that hidden message." So
Yeah.
Blade's gonna have some feelings on whether or not he actually wants to shoot up or not.
Right. But it still doesn't make sense, though. He's been on this hunt for vampires for his entire life, and then all of a sudden, the one vampire chick that he talks to says, "You're just like us." And he's like, "Oh, wait, you're right. I am."
Except I can walk in the daylight, and I've killed 10,000 of you guys.
Yeah, I've literally committed genocide for your race. And all of a sudden, maybe I was wrong.
And you know what? Maybe 2,000 of those were actually human, and I didn't know it, but I am okay with it.
Fine, because I'm the Daywalker. I can do what I want.
Yeah.
And then, Dr. Nyssa also finds a way to harvest the pheromones from the Reaper's adrenal glands, which they're going to use down in the tunnels to attract them all in, which, okay, whatever. Like, I guess that works. But there's this one line from Norman Reedus where they're all suiting up, getting ready to go. And then I think Nyssa asks Scud if he's coming down. He's like, "No, I'm a lover, not a fighter." I thought it was good line delivery.
Gross.
It was really stupid. But
it was good delivery. I'll give him that.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you noticed this, but everyone's suiting up. I'm I don't know if this is armor that this squad already had, or if like Whistler made it somehow in 5 hours, made it for everyone. But everyone's suiting up in this black Power Ranger armor, and Donnie Yen, the Asian guy, he of course has his fucking Asian symbol on his armor, as if we forgot he's Asian. Like, it's so stupid.
It looks like they were getting ready to go play laser tag.
Yeah, seriously. And they're like grabbing all these fucking guns, but it's like, why? Why are you grabbing guns? We established this 10 minutes ago. Guns don't do anything, yet everyone's like,
well,
like.
And also, we have this stupid suit up moment, and we armor up these nobodies who all die, but we don't get any extra footage of Blade dressing up. Like, he doesn't get dressed to the gills with armor.
Nothing.
He should have put on
normal.
a completely different costume.
Yeah.
But he just hangs out in his meditation room for 10 minutes while they all suit up.
Yeah, made no sense. But yeah, so the squad, they get suited up, then they go down into the sewers, and before that, Blade has this pretty badass line though. He's like, let's just get one thing straight. I don't expect everyone to come back from this. And I liked that. That was a nice touch. But they go down to the sewers, and somehow through all of this, I guess the big Celtic tank guy with his sledgehammer, he had gotten bit by one of the Reapers, but no one noticed.
What's his real name? It's like Little Tank or
I think it's Light Hammer.
Light Hammer.
Yeah.
What the hell?
So stupid. But he got bit in the neck, but he just so happens to have this one piece of leather armor that goes on the side of his neck that he pulls up to cover the bite. Nobody notices for however many hours that they took the suit up. Nobody sees this. Nobody knows. And while they're down in the sewers, he fully turns to a Reaper within minutes, within seconds. And he kills Donnie Yen's character off screen, which fucking stupid. And then he goes after the pixie cut redhead, who I guess was his girlfriend or something. And she's like, oh no, you're coming after me, and climbs up and decides to commit suicide by opening up the sewage grate and burns them both. I really didn't know why that happened. Like, this relationship that they had in this movie for whatever reason was so stupid and pointless. It added nothing to their characters, added nothing to the story, but I don't know if they wanted it to be emotional that she decided to commit suicide and kill them both by sunlight or something.
It seemed like something that they wanted to do more with if they had like a 3-hour runtime.
Yeah, maybe there's a super extended Snyder cut.
Yeah, this guy, like, why are you still choosing to live? If not, like, maybe his intentions were to try to kill like 100 of them and then himself. And then I don't like that we introduced this idea that, and we've seen it a few times, the vampires have fear. Yeah. If you're a vampire, you shouldn't have like hardly any emotions, and yet this lady hesitates to kill him because she's afraid.
Yeah. Or maybe it was more so like, oh shit, you're my husband or you're my lover or something. Like, I don't know. It was just, they could have cut those two characters out.
Her life, because she has to just open up the hatch.
But she didn't have to though. Like, it was just, I don't know.
Also, before we go too far, do you remember that when they were talking about hunting them, they said it was going to have to be in the daylight? Yet they they just skipped past the fact that none of them had to put on like makeup or anything. They just immediately went into the tunnels. So like the daylight part didn't matter.
It didn't matter at all. But they made a really big deal out of it, because like Blade was like, oh, 6 hours, and then we go. And then Assad is like, what happens in 6 hours? Tell me what happens in 6 hours. And Blade's like, we hunt them in the daylight. And then they go into the sewers. It's so stupid. So yeah, then all the Reapers show up because they start spraying the pheromones, and there's hundreds of them. And I kind of liked this part. This is like one of the, maybe not the final boss fight in the game, but one of the hardest parts of the game, where you have to fight off the hordes. And it made me think of the Resident Evil movie, the first one where they're in the sewers and they all get separated and surrounded by zombies, and I liked it. It had a nice touch to it. It felt like there's actually some stakes. Like I actually didn't know that all of them pretty much were going to die at that point. So I thought it was pretty cool. And then
yeah,
I was confused by how the UV grenades work, though, because there's one moment where this part makes no sense. So Blade, Nissa, and Assad are like in this big open area in the sewers. The Reapers, all of them, because they all have a hive mind, I guess, and have to attack the same thing. They can't attack other things. So all like 50 of these Reapers jump on Assad, and they allow Nissa and Blade to like back up or whatever. And then Blade jumps in and he throws a UV grenade off to the side, starts counting down from 10, dips his blade in the water, and then it just so happens that at the count of 10, all the Reapers look over, see his blade in the water, jump into the air. Every single one of them jump into the air. The UV grenade goes off, kills all of them. And while this is happening, Blade decides to slice all these dust piles in midair. And I don't know. It looked cool, but what was happening and why, I don't know.
It's kind of like the bullets. Like, I don't get what they're doing with these grenades, because either he would just pull the timer and then throw it in the water because there's no reason to throw it off to the side.
Yeah.
And then B, like, if we're under the assumption that these whatever vampires are stupid, couldn't they just kind of do like a Call of Duty thing where like you have a scented grenade that they all like go to, and then it blows
like
them up?
The pheromones, like a monkey bomb type thing, right?
Yeah, like what the hell?
It makes no sense. And then
so many
worst
ideas getting jumbled and like
yeah,
this mess.
Like there's cool ideas here. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
they're just not done well at all. Like there's a lack of continuity with these grenades too, because probably my favorite shot in this movie. This is like a little bit later on in the sewers when Blade smashes the pheromones on his body, and he's like trying to get all the Reapers towards him so that Nissa and Reinhardt can escape. You see all the Reapers surrounding him, and he goes,
"You obviously do not know who you are fucking with."
And he throws a grenade down, but it doesn't take 10 seconds to explode for some reason.
Oh, no, that one took 3.
I know. So it explodes and wipes out all these Reapers, and it made for a really, really badass line. I think it's my favorite line in all the movies so far. But yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I love that, but I do wish that they would have at least just told us in the beginning that you can change up the time to whatever you want instead of making it a 10-second. That makes no sense.
Or just not even use the timer at all. I don't know why. But then Whistler, he gets tracked down by what's his face, Nomak, and for some reason Nomak lets him live, gives him this ring that's from his father, Dameskinos, and then tells him, "Hey, this is what's going on. I was made by Dameskinos." And I really didn't understand this part. Why would he tell him this, and why wouldn't he kill him? It makes zero sense. This is where we find out that the whole time Dameskinos was plotting with Reinhardt to capture Blade after he helped him kill all the Reapers. And so another squad of vampire SWAT shows up and they tase Blade and they capture him. We find out the plan. And for whatever reason, Nomak runs away And if he's so powerful, I don't understand why he would run away from.
Yeah, he could have taken out every single one of those people.
Yeah, single-handedly. So it's so inconsistent. Like, I don't really understand what's going on.
Yeah, and if they're gonna tell Whistler the plan, then like, why have him get captured immediately? He could have, like, they then go back and then they prepare to storm the vampire base.
It doesn't make any sense. And to make matters worse, so Nomak tells Whistler everything that's going on, right? Then when they capture all of them, they round up Blade, Scud, and Whistler, and they take them back to the fortress where Damascus is.
This was great.
And then fucking Whistler tells Blade, hey, guess what Nomak told me? He was created. He's the son of Damascus. Big plot twist. And then 5 seconds later, Damascus tells Blade the exact same thing Whistler just told him. I was so baffled. I was both times I watched it, I was like, why did this happen? Why are we hearing the same exact thing? What was the purpose of this? And there is no purpose. That's the thing.
Also, I'm still confused by why. Okay, so is the grandfather or whatever the hell, is that Nomad or is that Damascus or whoever? Who's the Grand Wizard?
Damascus, the Grand Wizard. Isn't that the leader of the KKK?
That's Damascus?
Yeah.
Why does he look like that? Because we've seen old vampires in the first one, and no one looks like that. Like, is he especially like 10,000 years old, and you don't get that way until 10,000? Or
maybe they call him the Overlord. So I don't really know what that means.
They just never specifically said his age, so like we don't know what age you start looking ugly.
Well, I mean, Nomak's pretty young, and he's butt ugly, so.
Bad genes.
Yeah.
Why would you're creating a new DNA strand with incest instead of like the best genes.
But then somehow Nissa turned out kind of hot, so I don't understand.
She's adopted.
Yeah, it must be. But then we have the typical, third act, fourth act of the action movie where the whole plan gets spoiled. Scud reveals, oh, by the way, I've been working for the vampires. You're an idiot. You didn't know, blah, blah, blah. And he goes through the entire bad guy plot from the start of the movie. He's like, oh, I just let them in, man. You think they got through my security? And
I will say, as far as a villain monologue goes, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I just hate it when they do this, though. It's like the James Bond villain, yeah, I guess. But
it wasn't like the normal thing that we usually see of like just a plain old villain speech.
Right. Yeah, I guess it was okay. But one good thing that does come out of it is, Blade's on his hands and knees, and he's like, 2 things, Scud. First, I've been on to you since day 1. And secondly, beep, and he blows him the fuck up.
Oh, I thought this was the scene was cool. The story was dumb because they would have 100% stolen that remote when they captured Blade.
Yeah, I don't know.
So stupid.
But was it supposed to be a dud though? Because Scud made it and he said, yeah, it's a dud. But then Blade's like, no, it's not. Did he fix it? I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of left out story in there that like we're just supposed to guess.
Yeah, whatever. Then another thing I hate, Reinhardt takes Whistler to this torture chamber or whatever. Why doesn't he kill him? Like, why is he still left alive enough for him to somehow open up his handcuffs and then beats the shit? Like, this old dude with a gimpy leg beats the shit out of this vampire who was supposedly part of this ultimate team that was training to hunt down Blade, gets beat by this old man, and then Whistler doesn't kill him.
Yeah, he just leaves them alive.
Oh, it just makes no sense.
And if we're going to keep playing this gag of Whistler not dying ever, then why not at least actually kill him? And it's like, oh my God, he died again. And then third movie brings him back.
Be like, nope, he's not dead.
And then at least it's like a joke and it's like a running thing.
Yeah. But then, so during this time, they've taken Blade and they put him in this machine, just like the first one. We're going to drain your blood and do something with your blood, whatever, yada, yada, yada.
Not original.
Yeah. And Whistler, he goes and he saves Blade, and Blade's like, blood, I need blood. So Whistler carries him.
But did you notice when whoever the guy is that's talking to Blade on the table, when Whistler shows up, the guy gets shot in the chest. And it looks like the bullets are coming from front on, but Whistler's down in the ductwork. Like, how the hell did he shoot?
I didn't notice that.
Forward.
Because curve the bullet, man. He went he went Wanted style.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so Whistler carries Blade and they go over, and there's happens to be this big pool. I don't know, does Demeskinos have these blood baths everywhere in this fortress? In every room you have to have blood bath. So he carries him over while he's walking around this entire fucking like thing, this mezzanine to get to the place where you can dump Blade in. Reinhardt's there with a shotgun. He shoots at them like 8 times, misses every single shot, and Blade gets to jump into the bloodbath, and somehow
the bloodbath is at most like a few feet deep. He would have cracked his neck on the bottom of that pool.
I know, but whatever.
I guess comic book release where he just like falls in and you hear a snap, and the bad guys win.
But I guess based on this, this type of movie, this lore, it would heal him back anyways. He would, I don't know.
I guess, yeah, like he could have survived it regardless, but it's still just dumb.
Yeah, and then, but for some reason, Reinhardt thinks he killed him, so he turns around and starts walking away for whatever reason. He starts walking away, and then we get this, badass money shot of Blade slowly walking out of the water, and he's all jacked, and you can tell Wesley Snipes dehydrated himself for this scene, and yeah, it's all good and fun, and we get like 1,000 SWAT vampires rushing in, and they start fighting Blade, and this was done so bad. I don't know if you noticed, but I caught this the second time watching. The editing here was so bad. Like Blade would be, you'd see 3 people out of 1,000 in front of Blade. He'd go in karate 1. Then the other guy decides to come, karate this guy. Then the third guy decides to come. It's always like 1 at a time when there's 1,000 of them, never like everyone surrounding him. And then in one shot, you'll see 50 SWAT dudes behind him. In the next shot, they disappear. This happens over and over and over. And I wonder if they didn't shoot enough coverage or if it's just bad editing or whatnot, but
well, and what I'm wondering about is, are these actually vampire SWAT or are they human? Because he doesn't need to like hit them with silver. He kind of just disables them.
Yeah, I guess
if
we don't know.
Vampires, they would just pop right back up.
Maybe they're all familiars, which
could be.
I don't know.
Yeah, why do vampires need protecting?
Yeah, and then oh god, it just gets so goddamn ridiculous. Once he's knocking out he's dispatching all 1,000 of these, security guards, whatever. And then the last one, he literally grabs him, picks him up in the air, lifts him straight up, and suplexes him backwards, WWE style, all while Reinhardt's standing there watching with his shotgun.
And then he slithers back up to the standing position like he didn't spike it.
He jumps up like half a millisecond later. He goes, and it was so stupid. But I'll admit it was very comic booky, I guess.
I thought he was gonna pile drive that guy into the floor.
I didn't expect it. I didn't know that they're going to start doing WWE ladder jumps and stuff in this movie. And then we get the not boss fight, but the mini boss fight before the boss fight.
Well, but we can't skip past him killing Ron Perlman's character. How he cut him in half.
As I was saying, the mini boss fight. And
okay.
Yeah, so Ron Perlman, of course, he's like talking instead of fighting and giving him time to do whatever. And he swings the sword at Blade, and Blade's just like.
That was pretty legit.
It was badass. And the sword flips in the air for a whole 5 minutes before it comes back down. And then Blade grabs it and slices him in half. And it was cool. It was a well-deserved death, I guess. And then the second best part of the movie is Blade's walking towards the room to go look for Nomak or whatever. And Whistler up on the mezzanine still, he goes, "Hey kid," and he throws his Oakley sunglasses towards him, and Blade grabs them and slaps them on because he can't. I guess that's the source of all of his powers. It's like Thor with Mjolnir. If he doesn't have his Oakleys, he can't. He's not strong enough.
Yeah, but the Oakleys are super weird in this trilogy. Like it's just his character. He just has to have them.
Yep. I like it. It's very comic booky, I actually really liked it. It's very kishy.
Yeah, and then he gets this super badass superhero landing.
Yep. Which this is another part where the CGI was really, really well done. He's like standing up on top and he like does this front flip down and stabs Nomak. And it seriously, I couldn't tell it was 2002. The CGI looked better than some of the stuff you'll see today in 2021. So I thought that was really impressive.
Oh yeah.
But then of course they overdo it in this 10-minute fight scene. God, this fight scene just dragged on. It was so long. And there was like, the thing is like, there was some cool choreography and, it looked good, but it dragged on and there were no stakes. Like it's the end of the movie. I didn't think Blade was going to die. And I don't know. It was whatever. And then they did overdo the CGI a little bit and they had Blade do like 6 more flips and shit and whatever. It was fine. It was the boss fight. And see anything else here at the end? When Blade finally does kill Nomak, it's like they do this Mortal Kombat style like finishing move where Blade, he sneaks the half of his broken sword or whatever up and stabs Nomak, and you see that the X-ray vision of the sword going up and getting under the rib cage and into the heart. I thought that was kind of cool. If they were going this cheesy, they might as well add it.
They just didn't set up very well, like the parameters of this bone covering their heart.
Yeah.
Because if it's just a regular bone, I feel like after a while, shooting them would get through.
Right.
If they shot in like one spot, but they don't. They just past it.
Only swords can get underneath it. Bullets don't do anything. Whatever. And so before Blade had killed him, Nomak killed Demeskinos, his father, and he bit Nissa, who is his sister, and Nissa tells Blade as she's dying, like, "Oh, I want to die as a vampire. Don't let me turn into a Reaper, but I want to see the sunlight." So he takes her outside and lets her die by the sun coming up. And I don't know if you noticed, but while they're there on the balcony in the back, when you see the building in the background, the fortress, God, the CGI looks so bad there. They spent all the money for the CGI in the fight scenes and left none of it here. And it looked like Black Panther, the end of Black Panther, when Black Panther and Killmonger are like watching the sunrise or the sunset or whatever, and they have the terrible CGI cliff. Oh God, it looked just like that.
It's a hard scene to perfect.
Yeah, only the the master artists can get it. I do like how the movie ends though. So we get this little epilogue where we see that a Euro vampire from the very beginning of the movie that knew Whistler's location. Blade told him in the start, "Hey, if you tell me where Whistler is, you show me where he is, I'll let you live. I'll consider you a loose end. And we have this epilogue at the end where he finds that vampire, and he's like, "Did you think I forgot about you?" And it's a good little
I thought that was perfect.
end teaser. Yeah.
It gave us another one of those like funny looks at Blade where he's like being this weirdo who's a little bit cheesy.
Yeah, he's like,
and I feel like they were one beat away from him showing up in like a lingerie set with his sword.
and it just zooms in on his
room,
smile.
I have to play the part. Yeah.
He's a method actor.
Down. Magic Mike starts playing.
Well, all right. That about does it. Now we have to get into overall impressions and opinions.
Nitty gritty,
the scoring. So overall, what did you feel about this movie? Likes, dislikes, and then wrap it up with your score.
Yeah. So I definitely like the fight scenes, the choreography. I just wish that they would have pulled back just a hair, because I feel like they did a good job of showing how Blade is different from vampires and how much more powerful he is, because he can truly do things that they cannot do. And we see that with him doing these like flips, even though they kind of screwed it up by letting other vampires do it too, like the two ninjas.
Uh-huh.
So like, I just wish they would have pulled back on that just a little bit, and it would have been a really good transition to showing us his new, like maybe he's been training, maybe he got a really big power boost from when he drank blood last time.
Yeah.
But overall, it was great action, so it was nice to have it. Like, I'll take it. The story was definitely disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely where they lacked. Like, they had a great cast, a great setup and premise, awesome director, but then like somewhere within the lines, I don't know if it was like the ratings, like they couldn't go too hard with the R, or it was a matter of money, but like they just somewhere within the middle they slipped, and they missed out on an opportunity to make an amazing film.
So what do you think would have made it better?
I think if we would have gone even more dark or comedic, like all these movies, they play it safe and they play it in the middle, so they don't go like crazy. Like, it would have been cool to see him do some like finishers or like something stupid if we're going that way.
Yeah, it goes super camp.
And with the, like, they went overboard with the gymnastics and like comic booky stuff. So then if we're doing that, let's go all the way, and let's
just
get
balls
even
to
crazier.
the wall.
Yeah, but I think they just played it too safe and didn't go all out.
Yeah.
Or they tried to, but then failed.
They didn't go Thor Ragnarok with it.
Yeah, that would have been the thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough because this was 2002, we said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just hard compared to today's versions, where like we can go however we want. Like, people are going to watch, so they can do whatever direction that they want to do. So I feel like they kind of did as best as they could for the time, but at the same time they could have done a lot better, because I feel like he did a much better job with Hellboy, at least number one, maybe not number two.
Yeah. I thought number two is way better, actually.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'd have to rewatch it to remember, but
we could also do those in the future too.
There we go. But yeah, I mean,
how would you compare this to the first one?
Oh God, better in a sense, because I feel like the first one had a lot of like empty stuff that we just did not care to see. So many introductory scenes, like seeing his mother for literally no reason. A lot of like wasted time where he could have been fighting. So I feel like it was overall. I I think the plot was more solid in the first one.
What about the villain? How would you compare the villain in this one, or villains compared to the first one?
First one did it better because what the hell was his name?
Deacon Frost.
Yeah, Deacon Frost. He at least was very villainous, and he had a plan. He was very smart, and he had all these things set up. And then in the second one, we get introduced to Assad Overlord.
Demeskinos.
The Overlord. There's so many villains getting thrown around here.
I know.
And they're all just kind of fumbling around, like setting each other up, but then like not really accomplishing what they want. And I just feel like Deacon was a lot smarter and a better villain.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, as an action movie, I would give it maybe like a 7, but maybe even drop it down for their use of CGI and stunts.
Mm-hmm.
And then for plot, I would definitely give it like a 5 or a 4.
Okay. So what about if you had to give it one overarching score?
I got 6.5.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you got? Get deep into it.
Yeah, this one was difficult for me because, like I said at the start, like I remembered this one being the best out of the trilogy, but after watching it twice, it's really tough for me to say if this is better than the first one or if I would rank it like right on par with the first one. And
it's hard.
Yeah, I personally think the story's a little bit better. Like I hated Frost in the first movie. Like Frost was not intimidating whatsoever. He was a punk ass little bitch, and
yeah,
I didn't really like. I liked his motivations a little bit. Like that, at least that was a little more defined. Like, oh, I'm a young new vampire breed, and I think we're better than the humans, and then these other vampires don't agree. So I like that part more. Here, I don't understand Nomac's motivations at all. I don't think he has any.
Yeah.
It's like my daddy made me,
Chaos.
so I'm pissed. So I want to kill everybody. And but then they reveal this like throwaway line at the very, very end of the movie. I guess Nomac has been in pain the entire time since he was made, but like nothing ever is mentioned of that. So I feel like they could have done something with that there.
He was pretty emo because at the end when he gets stabbed, he's like, "Oh, sweet relief."
Yeah, but then it's like never talked about in the entire movie outside of that part. Like I just don't understand. Like they could have done something more with that to give him actual motivations, because all I understood of what he wanted was to kill his daddy. That's it. And I thought that's a really weak story point for a character. But I feel like there's something missing from this movie that I felt like from the first one too, that makes it so that these movies aren't excellent. Like they're good, not great.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is. Like I feel like such an interesting character like Blade, such a good portrayal of the character from Wesley Snipes. There's just something missing, and I honestly don't even know what it is.
I feel like it's just a lot of something, like those little choices that they decide not to do, the use of Whistler when he's the worst character.
Yeah, he really is.
It's just so many things adding up, but it's like it just pulls you out of it being a great movie.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like they're good. Like if they come on TV, I'll watch them because watching Wesley Snipes do his thing is really, really entertaining. But when he's not doing his thing, I'm just like a lot of this is
and that's
passable.
Why it doesn't hold up, because like if it's on and playing, it just makes you want to fast forward to like the action scenes or like where it's good. It doesn't hold up to your attention.
Yeah. And at least for the first one, Wesley Snipes had a lot, I said this before, like he had more of those money shots where it's like the camera focuses on him, zooms in on him, and he like smiles or he like gives the one-liners. And there's less of those in this movie, which I felt made it a little less enjoyable. But overall, I feel like this movie was made better than the first one, maybe thanks to Guillermo del Toro. I found the design of the Reapers actually pretty scary. Like they're pretty intimidating. Not so much Nomak. Nomak wasn't scary to me at all, but then his little Reaper buddies were. So I thought that was an interesting choice. This movie does feel 100% like a video game to me, though. I will say that. And sometimes that works in favor of the movie. And I feel like with this, it kind of does, but it also kind of detracts from it. Like we get that squad of useless vampires, which I'm curious as to why they were written into the movie at all, or why they were written the way they were. Like maybe there's a super extended cut somewhere where they all had bigger roles, maybe not. But like I feel like there's the intro to the game, there's this side quests at the beginning, the side missions, then you get the upgrades and team building, and then you get the boss fights. And so if someone's into seeing a live action reproduction of a video game, like this could be for you. But I do feel like this has the same problem as the first movie with the villains, to where they're just inadequate. Like I hated Deacon Frost, and Nomak could have been good, but his motivations weren't. And so
at the end of the day, though, who is better as a villain? Who do you think did it better? You got to give it to Deacon, right?
Just because his motivations make sense, but I hated his character. He just wasn't scary whatsoever.
He at least had follow through, and he had like a full, concise plan.
Yeah, but it didn't make any sense that it would take Blade so long to hunt him down and kill him. That part made no sense to me.
They both have faults.
Yeah. So comparing the first movie and this one, I think maybe I like the first one more, which surprised me. So I would give this one overall a 6.5, just exactly like you. And which is really surprising. Like going into this, I was like, oh wow, this is gonna be so much better. Like it starts off, it starts off decently strong, and we're getting to expand on this universe already established from the first one, but it just didn't do it as well as I'd hoped. So yeah, 6.5.
I don't remember exactly what we scored the first one, but I feel like it was pretty high, like maybe an 8 or so.
I think I gave it an 8.
Yeah, other than Donatus's 2 that he gave it.
His negative. Yeah. All right. So if you guys have any, opinions, comments, questions about this whole thing, leave us comments on social media platforms and such. But right now we usually take this time to do a quick discussion on any future events, future reviews, current events, anything like that. So anything coming up that's exciting, besides the Snyder Cut, of course, March 18th, baby.
Oh gosh, yeah, 4 hours.
I tried to. Caitlin took the day off from work. I couldn't, but I like took the afternoon off.
You have it planned out?
Oh fuck yeah, dude! We're gonna go get ice cream.
Yeah.
We're gonna go get fucking pizza or something. We're gonna get movie snacks, popcorn. It's gonna be a thing. I'm so excited.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to the movie theater alone.
It's not gonna be in theaters. You gotta watch it at home. Well, better get her in check. Okay.
I don't know if she saw the last one, but I'm pretty sure it was tough. It's hard getting Allison to watch DC movies because they're so different from Marvel. So it's like,
so she's
not
on
really
the Marvel crowd.
Yeah, non-comic person.
I don't know.
But we actually saw a movie in theaters the other week.
Ooh, what movie?
I think Nudes from Around the World, the one with Tom Hanks.
Oh, okay. How was that?
It was pretty good. It kind of reminded me of True Grit.
Yeah, the story seems similar.
Yeah, but pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard some good buzz around that movie. I think maybe it got nominated for some awards for this year.
We saw some trailers, which was fun. Which is funny because a lot of the movies you see in the trailer are like already on HBO Max.
Yeah.
But I'm getting excited
time.
for this movie that has what's his name? Is it Steven Yeun, the guy from Walking Dead?
Oh yeah, Minari. Oh god, I want to watch that so
really
bad. They actually you can watch it now on streaming. It's one of those where you can rent it for like $20 or something to watch. And I might do it because I've heard such good things. And honestly, with like, I don't know if you've heard, but all the Asian like beatings and stuff that have been going on around the country, like elderly Asian people getting assaulted all over the country. It's kind of an interesting time to have a movie like this. And I think it's, it's culturally relevant.
Dude, I mean, COVID took us 5 steps back from Crazy Rich Asians. Like,
yeah.
They were growing in popularity, and then
it's fucked up stuff that's been going on. But yeah, I think
Steven Yeun can bring it back. He's like the hero amongst the Asian groups, I think.
Yeah, so, he's him and John Cho. I think they're kind of changing the cultural understanding of like Asian actors, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
I know Godzilla versus King Kong is coming out the end of this month, or March. I guess March is tomorrow, but end of March following Snyder Cut, which is super exciting.
Looks a little bit weird. I don't know how I feel about that one. The trailer looks like it's going to be cheesy.
Oh, of course. I mean, it's Godzilla versus King Kong. That's what it's like watching Transformers.
So set your expectations low.
Oh, mine are going to be high. I'm excited. What else do we got? Mortal Kombat. Have you seen those trailers?
Oh, I'm pumped for Mortal Kombat.
It looks so bad, but good.
Yeah, it at least looks like a huge step up from the original Mortal Kombat. Like they're
the originals were dope.
Pretty well.
Were they? Yeah, they were surprised. The first one. I can't speak for the second one, but the first one, it's seriously, it felt like a cheesy Jackie Chan movie that like doesn't take itself too seriously, so it ends up being better than you would think.
What I'm hoping for, and I don't think there's been any leaks yet, but I hope that they manage to somehow bring in like a almost like an Easter egg of like a fighter pack. So like bring in the Terminator or someone stupid who just comes in and gets like a finisher.
Like the expansions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when I was watching the trailer for the first time, when you see the dude playing Scorpion say, "Get over here," I was like, this is so fucking bad, but it's gonna be so good. Like,
I'm pretty sure it's just as bad, and I think they do this too. They mention within their own world, it's gonna be a Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I think this is a movie that knows exactly what it is. It's just like Godzilla vs. King Kong. Like, it's like, we know we're tackling something so fucking corny, so fucking cheesy. Yeah. So just hop in for the ride, eat some, popcorn and enjoy yourself. So it's going to be a good one.
Which is good. That means they have a high chance of not screwing up by going in there, doing what they know.
Right. Hopefully. We'll see. We'll find out.
Yeah. If they start taking themselves seriously, I'm out.
Yeah. I heard this the other day. I don't know if it's officially been announced, but apparently J.J. Abrams is now tapped to produce, maybe direct, I think just produce a new Superman reboot, which blows my fucking mind. Like, Henry Cavill is already such a good Superman. Do not waste him, Warner Brothers. What the fuck are you doing? Like,
I don't know. I think the people are wanting a 5th chance for Brandon Routh.
No, they're going to go with a black actor. It's going to be Black Superman.
Of course. The Rock. Yeah, I'm cutting deals pretty tight with Marvel, but I think we can get me out of it.
No, he's already playing Black Adam, remember?
Yeah. Oh wait, that is DC?
Yeah.
All right. What about we'll make a joke of it and just have Idris Elba, the Black Superman.
Yeah, he was already Black Superman. So that'd be hella meta. That's like Deadpool level of meta.
Yeah, I don't know who else today could really play it off.
It'll probably be, kind of a lesser known actor, but I think it's so stupid. Like, Henry Cavill's only been Superman since 2013 in 3 movies. Like, leave him, let him shine. Like, there's so much potential.
Yeah.
It's WB just doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, and apparently Zack Snyder just released, he just teased that he ends his Snyder cut with a big cliffhanger because he's hoping that, like, if there's positive reception to the movie and there's enough, like, good reviews and so many people watching it, that maybe somehow Warner Brothers will allow him to finish his story arc, because he had it planned out for 3 Justice League movies, like a five movie plan. And so I'm really curious to see what cliffhanger this is, because if somehow this happens, like he leaves on a cliffhanger and there's positive reception for the movie, that they greenlight him to finish his story on like HBO Max or something, like, dude, it's gonna be so good.
I think it's really good timing, and I feel like the probability is pretty high because we're kind of getting towards the end of a Marvel era, and we've seen what can happen if you get these like 10 movie arcs and the buildup is amazing.
Right. But WB execs are fucking stupid, so who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Anything else that you can think of coming out soon?
I got a couple things I wanted to talk about. One being Walking Dead, but before we get to that, me and the wife were watching Cheaper by the Dozen last night. It's on Disney Plus. Good throwback movie.
Yeah.
And if anyone wants to go back and watch it, you can fast forward. But very early appearance by Jared Padalecki. He was one of the school bullies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's picking on Tom Welling's character because they just moved into the new school.
That's ironic.
And it's crazy. Yeah, because Jared is like a good 2 inches taller than Tom Welling, which is crazy. That freak was 6'7" in 5th grade.
Yep, he came out of the womb like 7 feet tall.
Yeah, broad shoulders, 6-pack.
Did that first one come out? Of course, this is the remake because there was an original movie, I think, back in the 70s or whatever.
Yeah.
Did that movie come out around the time of Smallville? Was this when Tom Welling was like getting big because of Smallville?
I think so. Let me see.
I don't remember when those.
It was Cheaper by the Dozen was 2005. This Smallville was 2001. So yeah, he would have been at the height.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But it's also so funny because when the dad greets Tom Welling's character for the first time in his room, he's like, "What's up, teenager?" It's like, dude, you are 25 years old in this. What are you pulling?
I don't know why they Hollywood loves to cast like 40-year-olds as teenagers. Like, it makes no sense.
It's because teens can't be hot or get like the muscle structure that a 30-year-old can.
With Hollywood steroids, a 5-year-old could get the Hugh Jackman steroids. Like, they can get that look.
And then Walking Dead. So I just saw something pops up that they have new episodes coming out. I haven't watched it in forever. Are you still up to date with Walking Dead?
No, so I never watched past. I watched the first couple episodes of season 7, but then I kind of drifted off because I didn't have enough time to keep up with it. But since it's all on Netflix, I've been slowly making my way up, and I'm up to season 4 now, I believe, and it's a really good show.
Are they on
honestly.
11?
11 or 12. It's the final season. I know that.
Jesus, what are they doing?
Well, it's kind of like Supernatural, where like it starts off really, really strong for the first few seasons. Then it kind of takes a dip. Like, I think season 7 and 8 are supposed to be not very good, so similar to Supernatural, and then it picks back up, and they had a new showrunner in season 9 to the current one, and apparently it's like really, really good. So I'm excited to catch up and actually finish off the series, because it's one of those where, like, yeah, there's some not so good filler episodes and here and there, but overall, like, the story's really good. I think it's a very interesting, idea, and good acting too. So are you watching through it right now?
No.
Well, it's all on Netflix.
I just saw it pop up, and I was like, huh.
Yeah, you should check it out.
I've been currently rewatching Game of Thrones, and I think I'm on
me too.
3 now.
Hey, me too. Nice. What episode?
I just watched the one where Daenerys takes the Unsullied, and so she kills all the slave owners. That might be the most badass scene in TV history.
Yeah. My problem with that show is, like, there's some characters, and I think this is inevitable in a show this, that big, where there's so many different characters. There's some characters I just literally do not give a shit about. Like, never, even reading the books, watching the show, I never gave a shit about Daenerys. I hate whenever they cut to her story. Like, it's just...
Really?
She's just like a whiny little brat that, like, I don't know. I just don't give a shit. And
I do feel like I remember, like, past this one insane scene, they kind of, like, fall off from her being really badass, and they could have done a lot more with her, but then you couldn't drag it out to be 8 seasons or whatever it was.
Right.
It would have been a 2-season show, because she'd kill everyone.
Right. Yeah, like, whenever you see Arya, I really like following her story and see, like,
oh yeah,
her story is so sad and so fucked up, and she's a really good actress. And then I really like seeing her. I like whenever we see Tyrion, Jaime Lannister, and then Robb Stark. I like following these characters, but then, like, I think based on the books, Jon Snow's story gets better after this season, or maybe towards the end of the season. But the first few seasons, I don't really care that much about what's going on with the Night Watch. Later on, it gets way better.
What's the furthest you've seen up to?
Where I am now. So I'm just at the part where
3?
Yeah. Brienne and Jaime just got captured by the flayed men people.
That was insane.
Yeah.
You really felt like she was going to get raped.
Yeah. Well, I've read the books up until, I think, season 4 is where I was in the books, like midway through season 4. So I've never seen past season 3 though. So I know a lot of the stuff that's going to happen, but.
So last time I think I watched up to we watched season 7, and then we just never watched the final season.
I hear you're not missing out.
How much goes on? Yeah. With how much goes on and the, like, wait times in between, I always forgot, like, what happens in between. Because so much, like, happens in these seasons, and it's hard to follow. So
yeah, that's
why I wanted to watch through again and actually pay attention.
Dude, imagine reading the books. Like, how the books are written so interesting. It's like the first book, you follow maybe like 5 different characters throughout the entire book. So it'd be like a chapter following Ned Stark, a chapter following Jon Snow, a chapter following whoever. And then usually the next book follows different characters. So it's interesting that you see things and hear things from different characters' perspectives, like good guys and bad guys. But then since there's so many fucking characters, I got to book 4 and I was like, I don't want to read a whole book with these characters. I don't care about them. I want to go back to the characters from book 2. And
isn't it hard reading it too? Because I've heard that with how exciting the show is and how cool it looks, it's hard to, like, read the books and take it seriously.
No, I will always think this. Season 1 was such a good adaptation of book 1. Like, I think it's having the visual helps when you're reading the book, but he gives a lot of detail for sometimes important things, sometimes not important things. You're like, oh, this rock has been in King's Landing for 30 years, and let me tell you about this rock. And I'm like, okay, I don't give a fuck about the rock. Like, go to the characters.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of the Rock, just started watching Young Rock.
I saw commercials for that. I was like, this is so stupid. Why does he have his own show about his childhood now?
It's pretty legit. It's funny.
Oh, I bet.
Randall Park is really cool in it.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it's just like Everybody Hates Chris. It's a funny,
I figured it'd be
childhood
like that.
show.
What about WandaVision? Speaking of Randall Park,
did he show up in that?
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I'm on episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think he's been in it from episode 1. He's the FBI guy. He was originally in the Ant-Man movies, and now he's in that show. God, Randall Park is so funny.
Always Be My Maybe is amazing.
Yeah.
I was trying to let them bank up so I'd have a few episodes to watch, but it's so hard because people spoil it everywhere.
I know. You just have to watch them.
Damn.
It's really good though. Like I was really skeptical when they first announced it. I was like, who wants to watch this? Like this is so stupid. But every episode just gets better and better. And it's like they slowly build on this, like, this universe, and it's so good.
Did you read about how I think they got the rights back and they're gonna try to do something again with either the Golden Fist or whoever the hell from Marvel, that guy?
Iron Fist?
Yeah.
In this show?
No, like he's gonna get like a new show or a movie or something.
Well, I know that they officially got the rights back to use all the Marvel Netflix characters like Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones.
It might have actually been Daredevil.
Yeah, well, there's rumors that Daredevil is going to be in the Spider-Man movie. Rumors, not confirmed, but that'd be sick.
I thought the Iron Fist guy got in trouble at one point.
I don't know. That's the one Defender show I never watched.
They got the Punisher back, and I've heard that they're going to keep using John Bernthal.
I'm a little skeptical unless it's officially announced like that. I haven't seen the show, but I've heard it's like super fucked up and like gritty and violent and stuff. I can't imagine Disney wanting to be like, yeah,
it's
come
awesome.
back on. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I'm hopeful.
Yeah. All right. Any other new things coming up?
No. I guess we need to decide what we want to do next.
We can finish
so
up
guys,
Blade.
we can either finish up Blade, and it's going to be rough because I know this is the one not a lot of people like, the Reynolds Blade. Or we could, get to a little bit of a better movie, go to Underworld.
Little bit better. I don't remember too much. It's been a long time.
I feel like the storytelling and the setups in Underworld is better.
Yeah.
Like the mythology.
Yeah, the lore and mythology is, if anything about those movies, I guess it's pretty well established.
Or it's never too late to start our Twilight-a-thon.
I don't want to have my heart broken again. I don't want to cry. Okay.
Is that a rat in the back of your room?
Yep. That's a I call him a kangaroo. He looks like a kangaroo. Don't you? He's got his sweater vest.
Grogu. Grogu.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be down to do either Blade, Trinity, or we could start Underworld as well. What do you think in between the two?
We might just have to wrap up loose ends and get Trinity out of the way.
Yeah.
If we don't, we're gonna have to go back and watch it right before the new one comes out, and
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I guess one bright side of this movie is it has Dominic Purcell from Prison Break. So
Yes.
although I'm pretty
Alright,
sure he's Australian and he's playing Vlad the Impaler, so I don't know, whatever.
Why don't we at least give ourselves a break, and we'll release a couple Supernatural episodes for you guys. That way we'll give you guys a break, we'll give ourselves a break, we'll come back refreshed.
In the interim, we'll get some Supernatural in there for the fans.
We're going to try to do a double. They won't necessarily come out on the same day, though. We'll probably try to stagger it. So,
we'll see how lazy I feel. We'll see how much time I have on the editing process. If you guys donate to, if you start up a Patreon, if you guys give us some money, we could hire an editor, and then we'll get you episodes every week.
Yeah, you might not see the result of that money immediately, but over the course of a couple of years, you'll see.
It's like investing in stocks. You don't, you might not get your dividends every day, every week, every year, maybe 10 years, and $5 will turn to $10.
I'll tell you one person who made $100 off Dogecoin. This guy.
Oh boy.
I was hoping for it to be $1 million, but
hey, I have a lot of money in GameStop right now. I'm waiting for it to skyrocket. Nope, I never pulled out.
You missed your shot.
Ever since high school, never.
All right, well, I think that wraps it up for us. Kenny, you want to give the outro a shot?
Well, thank you, fans and listeners, and now viewers, for checking in and tuning in to Scary Sci-Fi Sluts podcast. This has been a good review, wrap-up of Blade 2. If you have any comments, concerns, criticisms, if you want to just say hi, say, hey, fuck you guys, you suck, whatever you want to say, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, there's some others, Stitcher,
Podbean, there's like
wherever.
10 of them.
Yeah, go and even if you don't want to listen to the podcast, if you don't want to, YouTube now, give us an upvote, give us a like, something, say hi, whatever. We appreciate it. It helps people find us, and
we're trying to get some sponsors.
Yeah, we need some sponsors. I keep getting these notifications from Podbean saying, hey, if you had 2,000 listeners and each one gave $1, that'd be $2,000 a month. So you guys,
we're only 1,999 away. So
but until next time, subscribe. Stay scary and stay sexy.